In this video, I'm going to give an introduction to Lab 4. So hopefully you can see and you know that Lab 4 is now due on Thursday instead of Wednesday, so you've got an extra day to work on it if you need. So going to the Lab 4 description, again, due on Thursday. You are going to need to tag your commit just like usual, and we're going to use strings. And we're also going to read and write from a file. So we're definitely going to need to use things like strtalk to split up our strings. So in this assignment, you're going to write a program that reads in the names of hurricanes, their categories, and their date, and it comes from this file. So you could actually just copy this, put it in here. So I would like to copy this file, and I'd like to copy it into my current directory, so I just put a dot. And now I can see I have that file, so let's take a look at it. So we've got the name of a hurricane. This one's called Easy. I guess that's kind of a weird name, but that's fine. And then now I have its category, and then I have the date. And so we can see that there are 37 total hurricanes in this file. And they all have the same format, and they're all separated by commas. These things that we need to read in. Although you'll notice that the date has a comma in it, so that could potentially mess us up. Okay, we already copied the file. Now our task is to write the list sorted by name to an output file. And so we don't just want to copy what we had in that original file. We need to print it in a specific way, which is the name, and then we need some spaces, and then we need the category. This is probably really small, so why don't I just I'll just run what I have here. So Lab 4, let's compile it. And now I can run it. So unlike when we were using redirection, I shouldn't need to put anything else here. I can just run it. And now I've written to my output file that I called out.txt. So let's take a look at that. And you can see actually, so you are supposed to match this. But you can find the simple output file here. So you should take a look at that because you are supposed to match the output file. But what does it look like? So you've got kind of two little header lines that you can just print yourself. And then, let's see, easy was our one that we were just looking at. So for that first line, easy, I write easy, and then I have some spaces, and I can use, there's a hint about how to do that. And then I should put the category, and then I should put the date. So you can see the hint here. Instead of using tabs, you should use the justification by passing in, say, 10s instead of just s, right? This is in a couple videos, or it might be minus 10s. I'm not positive if it's plus or minus, but you can take a look at that. So in the end, you could compare to make sure that you are going to get all this. You could do something like, so this is my output file, right? I wrote it. I guess this is a little tough. I don't actually know a nice way to do this, but here I'm going to copy this, so I'm just going to copy, and now I'll make it big again. Oops. Actually, so the output, so I'm in diff checker. Then let's take a look at the output that's in that sample output file. I'll make this a little bigger. Just get out of there. So I'm just going to look at that sample output. So back to see where it is. It's in, okay, sample output file can be found at public lab4 out.txt. So public lab4 out.txt. And again, if I wanted to just copy this so that I could check my work to make sure I'm going to get all those points, I could paste it in. So it does look like there's some extra space here, which I would not cut you off for. And also there's some extras here, which again, I don't count you off for trailing spaces. And also, again, yeah, there's some trailing spaces there, but that's fine. Trailing spaces are fine, but I will make sure that you have the right number of spaces here, and things like, you know, this should say cat dot, etc. So you can check your work as usual, but I guess usually we print to the console. We don't write to a file. So that's what's different here. So when it comes to actually developing this program, I have some hints here. So you could start thinking about how are you going to do this. So maybe I'll make a new lab4 file for myself. And so I might just start by including the standard header files that I need. I'm probably gonna want to print out some messages to myself. And I also am going to need, I know I'm going to need string.h because I just mentioned that I'm going to need strtalk. And then maybe I just start with my main since I'm not taking in anything. But let's look at these. So it says consider string your program like so. Store each line in an array of strings and then sort it. So I might have something like, so I know I need to store each line in an array of strings. So what's an array of strings going to look like? Well, that is just a two-dimensional k array, right? So I'm going to have, maybe I call it lines. And so I'm going to need to put in numbers here. So first, I'm going to have my number of lines, right? And then I'm going to have line length. Because when I define my strings here, I always need to specify beforehand how long are the strings going to be, so that's line length. And then num lines, so I have some options. Maybe as I'm first developing my program and just making sure that it works, I might set num lines to be the exact number of lines in the file. And that happens to be 37. So we could see that. We look at hurricanes. We can see that there are 37 lines. So there's nothing in the description of the program that says that your program needs to, or of the lab, that says that your program needs to work on another hurricanes file. So you can actually hard code that 37 if you want. So maybe if I'm just starting off and I want to make sure that I get something working, I start off doing that. And I also need to just choose a line length. So we know that we just want to make sure that none of the lines are going to be longer. I guess if I really wanted to check here, I could see at the bottom, so at the bottom of my, I can press that to get to the end. So like this line, it looks like is 41 long because this is telling me I'm on line 3 and I'm at column 41. So 41 characters in. So I know maybe just to be honest, so I saw that long line was 41, so maybe I'll just say like 60, just give myself a lot of space. So I'm probably going to want to read in lines from file in a function, right? And so I'm also going to need to define my file pointers, right? I need a pointer in, a pointer out. That probably would happen before. And then I need to read the lines from the file, so maybe I define a function for that. And so that's gonna probably look something like, you know, fill lines, maybe I say fill lines from file, or read lines from file. Read lines from file. And if I defined, it's probably going to take in my file pointer, my input file pointer. This is now pseudocode, right? And it's also probably going to take in my array, right? Which itself is actually a pointer, so I can fill that by reference. And I may have other arguments, I'm not sure at this point. So maybe I put this in as a comment for now. And then after I've gotten my lines, I'm going to need to sort. And so I can either sort this here, or if I take a look at, so let me go back to this hint here. So it tells me to look at this other C file that comes from the book. Let me take a look at that. That's in public, examples, chapter 8, figure 814. So this is a program that's in the book. So if you're in the book, if you have the book, you can read a lot more about it. And what this does is, first off, it does some similar things to what we need to do. But one thing that it does is it actually makes just a pointer, a list of pointers, instead of sorting this original array. And so that's one strategy you could use here. So you could take a look at this and base your program off of this. And the other thing that you might want to use here is this actually has a sorting function in it. So you're welcome to look at this and see if you can either adapt this code or let it inspire your sorting implementation. But that is available, so definitely take a look at that if you want. So we're going to need to sort, and then I probably would have some function to print sorted array, and this would contain, this is where I would have my logic to do the formatting. So I don't necessarily need to, you know, separate out those lines. Like I need to, when I print, I need to take out this 4, right? Or this 1 here, away from the category 4, I think. Let's look at hurricanes.csv. So when I read it in, I read it as category 1 hurricane, but I only need that 1. And so I can do that all in the print function if I want. So just one way that you could approach it. Let's just make sure that we understand the grading. So as usual, we need comments. We need to indent our code. It should compile. And in fact, we should have no warnings at all, because in this program, you should use fgets. We see this in one of the string videos. And you can also look it up on Tutorials Point. So this allows you to read a full line. I added that you should not use global variables. So what would that look like? You should not do something like have this be defined up here, right? That would be global variable do not do. So as long as your variables are defined, in main, so declare variables in main or in other functions, right? They need to be local to a function. So we need to read from the file, so you should use those file pointers. Okay, you need to print to the file. The pleasing manner is specifically my formatting. You can see you get 10 points to match the sample output formatting exactly. So I'll change this before you look at it, but you just have to print to the file in the same output. So that'll just be 15 points. Like I said, you got to use fgets. We've got to use an array of strings. We need to sort. You need to print just the category number. And you should also separate your program neatly into at least 2 functions besides main. So that is lab 4. Good luck, and come to class and ask questions if you have any.